That I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya.
I, Rebecca Miano, being appointed a Cabinet Secretary of Kenya, do swear that I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya.
I, Kithure Kindiki, being appointed a Cabinet Secretary of Kenya, do swear that I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, respect, and uphold this Constitution of Kenya.
I, Aden Bare Duale, being appointed a Cabinet Secretary of Kenya, do swear that I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya, that I will obey, respect, and uphold this Constitution of Kenya, and to the best of my ability. So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And to the best of my ability. So help me God.
So help me God. So God help Raila Odinga as well. With ODM's positions on dialogue, which is, according to Victor Ndolo here, is confusingly clear. As you can see it, right now we have 11 who have been selected. Some of the faces you saw there being sworn in 2022 have resurfaced again after the dismissal of the whole cabinet. That's what we're discussing moving forward as well, eagerly waiting from the formation of the opposition. If also they will try and realign according to the ethnic balance, so to have the face of Kenya as it stands as well. Honorable Dr. Makadi, maybe just to ask you, because I think this is falling within your domain right now. Do you have any inkling? We'd raised questions regarding Mithika Linturi and also what was in the public domain. People are questioning the personal assistant, if that is the personal assistant. But we're given to understand also that was not really the case at the end of the day as it stands. So this was just rumors, so to speak. But everyone is waiting for you with the RDM, and it seems Wiper is not boarding. No. So we'll not have a representative from Wiper because you don't want to be. We've heard Kalonzo Musyoka very categorically saying that we don't want to be associated with this government. So there's no way Wiper will send anyone from.
No, I think the party leader has come out very clear saying that we are not bonding, and where we are, in case somebody decides, you do it at personal. It should be a personal decision, but as a party, we have said we are not joining the government. And the reasons have been given, seriously. We are saying where we are, and the bow, let's get this a fact that opposition in normal circumstances should be the government in waiting. Always should be the government in waiting. And the government in waiting has no business to help the government in power already to do their things right. Really, that's a basic principle in any democracy. That if you're in opposition, you should be the government in waiting. So the thing is, you should be waiting to tell the government fully, not to join, so that you implement your manifesto. And it's on the basis of this we are saying as a party that Wiper as a party will not be taking any positions. And the party leader has said, in case a member of the party decides to take up a position, then that will be at personal level, not the party position.
But that is where now the devil is in the details. Yeah, because there you seem also to be speaking from both sides of the mouth. You need to be very categorical. If I'm a member of a party, this is what the party leaders really stands for. I cannot really go against the grain and say, okay,
let us say this.
Now this is everyone will come and say, this is my personal position. This is not the stand of the party.
Let me explain what I mean. You know, there are people who have been called directly that would want you to join the cabinet. Some of the people have said have been called. So in case you decide to go there as a person, it means then you have to be de-whipped from the party. That's what it means.
Yeah, fair enough.
That you will not be going there as a member of Wiper. Okay. Once you take up that position,
it's good now that
then you cease to be a member of the party. That's what the position of the party is.
Okay.
But you know what is very surprising? I didn't know that members of parliament and Kenyans out there are so much attracted to this position of CS. From what I'm reading in the papers, people I would never thought they would want to join this government seem to be doing all what it takes to join the government. You saw what my good friend Honorable Bandi said over the weekend, that he can't follow Kalonzo because from where he sits, Kalonzo seems to be the guy stopping from being a cabinet secretary. I thought as a chair park, that's such a senior position that you not even. And by the way, you know, if you look at what has happened to our colleague Duale, what has happened to our colleague, there was Duale, there was Alice Waome, there was Mokomen, and there's now the Soipan.
And Soipan.
If you see what has happened to them in terms of them being appointed and leaving their elective position to join the cabinet, and now their names have been proposed again, and you can see Kenyans like they're saying no. Can you imagine what will happen in case they are not? In case we don't approve them to become now CSs again? Or in case Kenyans say we don't want them, and it happens that they don't. What will happen to them? The positions they left have already been taken up. So it means you're just going to be there now hanging. And you see more colleagues who are in parliament pushing to join the same. I really don't know what people think. But all said and done, you know, we have different interests, we have different objectives. So let's see what happens. But from where we sit as Wiper, we have said we are not bonding. ODM, there are all chances that they will be taking up positions. Actually, I understand this is in the corridors of power. I understand the reason why they could not give the names is because on Saturday and Friday, the party leaders almost a beehive of activity. There were so many people lobbying to be given this position that he could not make a decision. He had to push the decision to this week. So maybe this week we'll be getting some people names being proposed.
Okay, so if you have a Wiper off the table, the Jubilee Party?
No, Jubilee are off.
They're off.
Wiper is off. DFK is off. Mother Karua is off. And even the...
So generally, Eugene Omala,
Omala has come out, you saw it. There was a press release that they're not taking, they're also not boarding. So the only people who are boarding is ODM, basically.
So this is our positions for ODM?
Basically, if anybody will be boarding, will be ODM from the ODM team.
Well, do you think this is the final walkway of Raila Odinga to political obscurity? That now he'll be rendered irrelevant by this, and of course he's played to the playbook of the president. Just as he did, he never lands also from BBI.
I don't know what to say because...
No, politically, he's just
he has been through this many times.
That's what I'm asking.
And the end time he goes through this, he comes back and reinvents himself and comes... So I don't know, maybe this will be the last chance for him to... From where I sit, it could be the last chance, also because also age is also becoming a factor.
No, because it seems all of you have disowned him. Now, who will be on Raila's side?
My colleagues here will be on this side. My colleagues here will be on this side.
Can I intervene at the ball?
We have CORD, we have NASA. You know, implosion of it. It seems also Raila now has become a one-love, so to speak.
This is the reality of the situation on the Azimio part of the, I believe, coalition. On the one hand, because I listened to Governor James Orengo, I listened to him keenly.
Yes.
And I think that was the reason, the response by Mbadi was with regards to what Governor Orengo said. And one of the things, I probably might be a very young, junior, inexperienced politician. But for the longest now, we've had the succession planning and politics within the Azimio coalition. Everyone else, including now James Orengo, Kalonzo Musyoka, and the rest of the big boys within that formation, are seeing Raila to be exiting the scene. And on the one hand, James Orengo says joining William Ruto's government is making William Ruto survive. And he's insisting on the rallying call that he should go, he should go, he should go. And so, as I've always said, an objective, patriotic leader, Kenyan, it's not about the person in office. And that is what Honorable Mbadi was trying to respond, saying that, look, It is not about the fact that James Orengo has said we should, instead of having dialogue to build Kenya, because we have got a future, we've got a country to protect, and we've got young children as young leaders to have a future in this country, we shouldn't then just, for the sake of saying, merely because you might not be able to get into the table where you have the succession button given to you, just oppose it. And we said it. This is what the president said. And he was telling Kenyans, and in a particular way, he was actually telling the media that, look, good people, let us not fund the violence, because we continue doing it, we ban the country. Where will you be reporting from should we ban this country? What will you be reporting should we ban this country? Whom or who will you be reporting to should Kenya not be in existence tomorrow and in future? It's the same message that Mbadi was trying to say. Look, good people, you can't tell me just because it's a William Ruto presidency who is, whom we are trying to join, you do not want to join. Let us have dialogue, because we want to build and protect Kenya so that we have a tomorrow in a prosperous Kenya. So this politics of we're not boarding is out of interest. Look, for example, Jubilee. Jubilee is split into two. Half of Jubilee is in government, half of it is out. And they cannot then purport to say, we are not joining. DAP, that is Kijana Wamalwa's party, is saying we are not joining. Whom do they have as representatives in parliament? So we should also be talking, the only party that I know would probably have some semblance of justification to take a position as a party is Wiper, because one, its party leader is still out there. And the reason why, as I've said before, Kalonzo Musyoka is saying he's not boarding is because he definitely wanted to probably be the man who will succeed, who will take the lead, who will be ahead of the rest in determining who is going to join this government as a cabinet secretary, and probably with a particular portfolio. In this particular case, in this particular scenario, there is a possibility that he's just opposed to it merely because he has not been offered what he desired. Otherwise, as Ruku had said, and as my colleague here, Daktari, has admitted, these are political formations with personal interest, political interest, and that is why we are, threatening members to be de-whipped. If someone has been reached out to serve the people of Kenya on certain positions, I mean, it's everyone's desire to go down the history of this country and be, identified as one of those people who served at a time where the country was in sort of a crisis and participated in rebuilding the country's image, status, political positions, democratic space, and of course dialogue. And this is what we had attempted. And I'm so surprised that a former co-chair of the National Dialogue Committee, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, who co-chaired the NADCO, leading to 8 bills for legislation being agreed upon, the text, the objectivity of that NADCO was so real and good that if we mean well for the people of Kenya, we should be on the forefront to ensure that we implement that NADCO report. Because there is no difference between this conversation we are having right now, where the president is saying, let us come and dialogue for the benefit of Kenya, and the NADCO committee that brought to an end the demonstrations that we experienced in the previous year. There is no difference. The script then was the cost of living, representation in government should be having a regional representation. It's a government of all of us. We now need to sanitize our politics and all that. The conversation right now is on the same spheres. The difference is this was driven by Gen Zs, infiltrated by crooks and opportunists, and they have now even lost focus in terms of what they desired. And the president is saying, good people, let us continue having this dialogue, because we want, going forward, to recognize that we have a country to build, protect, and also a future to our people, a future to our children, a future to live in. And so it is just being selfish of leaders, especially those who held such high positions like former Vice President, to just come and say, I do not want to be part of sanitizing this. It's not sanitizing the presidency of William Ruto. It is agreeing, recognizing the concerns by Kenyans, and also the acceptance and the invitation by the president to sit down and form a government that will speak to the needs of Kenyans and the future of this country.
But hasn't also the Right Honourable Raila Odinga thrown a spanner into the works right now that he's demanding the 6 points demands that he wants from Kenya Kwanza government before he joins this government?
Do you want me to say something about that?
Yeah. Would you,
okay, thank you.
Could we hear from Ruko, then we'll come to you? Yes, please.
Yeah. Just to say something on what Honorable Karonso has said, we are not talking about the survival of government. We are talking about survival of nation called Kenya. And from where Karonso stands, it seems that he's talking about the survival of government of William Samoei Ruto. True, that is William Samoei Ruto government, but the nation Kenya is not William Samoei Ruto nation. It's a nation for all Kenyans, for all leaders. Kalonzo Musyoka included, Raila Odinga included. All of us Kenyans, we have to be concerned about the survival of our nation, Kenya. Our government can go anytime, but our nation cannot go anytime. We have to ensure we have a nation, we have a country called Kenya, and that we have to grant with all our effort and commitment as Kenyans and also as leaders. We saw very, very dangerous occasions in the past few weeks. If the Gen Zs would have walked to State House and, let's say, criminal elements get into the mix, in the mix of taking State House hostage, that will be the end of this nation. As far as Kenya, we know it. So the thing is, Kalonzo Musyoka must accept that we have a nation. Kalonzo Musyoka must accept that we have a nation.
I wanted him to just clarify because
let me just make my point. Yes. Kalonzo Musyoka must accept that we have a nation, and we have to protect this nation. We are in a very fragile moment at the moment, and this moment requires all national leaders, Kalonzo Musyoka included, to come on the table and face the national issues, the national challenges which this nation is facing. And the President William Ruto has outlined some of these. One of the main problems is the debt. The other problem is there is international influence. There are some people out there who don't want survival of our nation. The intelligence reports are there, with all the indication to that direction. And this calls for leaders to call the Kenyans to be united and stand against any force which may come in place to disintegrate this nation.
But if we interrogate that issue of the foreign forces...
That's what I wanted to clarify.
So the thing is, I thank Raila Odinga. He did a statement for, first of all, accepting the signaling that we can sit down and dialogue. The processes of how to dialogue, that can be discussed. And that is what Raila Odinga is saying. We have to discuss, we have dialogue in this and this and this manner. For us to dialogue, this condition must be met. Raila Odinga is not saying we are not going to have a dialogue. We are not going to board.
I think
Raila Odinga is as interest of the nation.
I think Honorable Ruku is misinforming Kenyans. Mm-hmm. Joining Kenya Kwanza government does not mean you are saving Kenya. I think these other parties who have said we are not boarding, what they are saying is, we are not joining your government, but we are ready for a national convention. Not dialogue, because we have had so many sessions of dialogue, and nothing seems to come from them. So people are saying, for us to save this country, because it's our country and we have no other country, can we then go for a national convention? And I think this has come out very clearly. Every time you listen to Orengo talk, it has come out clear. When Wiper, we made our position, we made this clear. DAPK has also made that position very clear, that what we are saying no is joining the Kenya Kwanza government. But a national convention, everybody is ready for it, to save the country. So when Ruko wants to equate joining the government to be saving the country, I don't think those are the same things. And that's the things I wanted him to clarify, so that it does not mislead the nation. We are saying, when you look at the history of this country, we have had so many sessions of dialogue, and that's why people are asking Honorable Raila. We have so many, including the latest, which is now the national, which Kalonzo was our co-chair. That was the latest, with very clear recommendations. But since they gave their report and said this is what needs to be done, what has been implemented, even the most urgent one, the IBC, which was supposed to be sorted out, as we are discussing it today, has not been sorted out completely. It's in the process. So if a matter as serious as IBC...
Hasn't it been assented to?
No, they have only now, we are supposed to get the people who are supposed now to identify the commissioners.
All right.
So we are saying by now...
But that's a big step.
If we are very serious, by now we should be having IBC commissioners in place, so that people like Mbanisa, people who have lost their MCS, would have representation.
But you've been on recess.
No, the thing is, even before you went on recess...
Even you're coming straight from your house to Parliament
even
because you're
before
afraid to go to your constituents.
Even before you went on recess, when was this report tabled, the Natico report, when was it tabled?
Dibal, once
ago.
Honorable Makali is done, I really would want to speak to this issue.
So what we are saying is, Dibal, let's not confuse the issue of saving Kenya as a nation with the issue, we want to say, when you join the Kenya Kwanza government, that is equal to saving Kenya. That is not equal.
You wanted to speak also on the issue of foreign elements as well, that the people who are really sponsoring these demonstrations?
I'm happy that somebody mentioned it, but in yesterday's newspaper, because I read it, it was saying even the office of the First Lady of this country benefited from the same financing from Ford. Is it Ford what?
Ford
Foundation. So if the first office of this land could benefit from that, who else should not benefit from it? This to me are just the scapegoats we are saying should be some. What would I don't want to call it propaganda.
Maybe the big question would be, what is the interest of the foreign elements in this? Why would they want to destabilize our
because
country?
Ford Foundation Bao has been this country since 1968. They have funded so many initiatives in this country. Initiatives which have been very beneficial to the country in terms of poverty issues, in terms of security issues, human rights issues. And these issues have stabilized the country. It's unfortunate that this one-week event of the Gen Zs, we want just to say, oh, what they have been doing is wrong, and now they should be blamed for everything and possibly kicked out of the country. I did watch the show yesterday where the PS of Foreign Affairs, is it Dr. Siong'e? Siong'e. Where he was trying to clarify the issues. And I think he came out very clear that even as you demand accountability, let's not just make everybody look like a devil. Ford Foundation has done a lot in this country. We should be, as a country, be able to respect that. So even as my colleagues make contribution to this point, let them not start showing the rest of the country that other leaders other than ODM is the only person who cares about the nation. We all care about the nation, but we can't say join Kenya Kwanza so that you are still to care the nation, to care about Kenya. There are other ways of caring about Kenya. That's why it's demanding a national convention.
Right. You wanted to comment first?
I wanted to because...
on the sixth point, before you forget.
Yes. Honorable Dr. Makali is normally a very objective leader. He missed big time today the point. And I have now that right to reply to him because I want to correct him. He's just told us about something called National Convention. Earlier on, when we were talking about the CSS, he said that let us send them home, all of them, because they are of incompetence. His last sentence was, let us not condemn everybody merely because of a Ford Foundation. So he's selectively talking about areas which fits to the description of their party leader saying we are not boarding. And that is where I really felt that he has misinformed Kenyans as to why Wiper is not willing to participate in this thing. Raila Odinga has mentioned 6 points in his desire to come to the table and have a conversation on a dialogue on a way forward on rebuilding Kenya. Among them is, he said that he needs to make sure that those who suffered in the course of the demonstrations are compensated. He also said that those who were arrested, I believe, if I got it right, I'm trying to just replay them in my mind, should be released from the police custody as a precondition for these negotiations. He also has talked about suspension of SHIF, that is the social health care program, and revert to NHIF. And of course now prosecute the police officers who were involved in shooting and killings. And now the convention that my brother here has talked about. I don't know what was the other condition that he gave. And a quick rejoinder to some of those ones. For instance, compensation is something that even the president has admitted that we need to make sure that we do it. The deputy president equally also spoke about it immediately after demonstrations. And Dibal, you know, we are all Kenyans. There is a procedure of everything. Before I came into this program this morning, I had to wake up, prepare, so that I get here in good time, and also get to be ready to at least engage in this conversation this morning. For compensation to happen, first of all, we need to identify who suffered, how, what's the extent of their loss, what sort of business were they engaged in. Nobody has said that we are not going to compensate. And it's impossible to just say, in the morning we are compensating, in the evening we've got to do it. It is something that the government has said for those who lost business, there will be a need to make sure that they get support so that they are back on track. A good number of business people in this country, both in Nairobi and outside Nairobi. I know there is a member of parliament whose supermarket was burned down, both in Nyeri and I think in Nanyuki. There is another one which we also saw, it was brought down in Emali. So many business enterprises went down in the course of the demonstrations. And that is something that is an ongoing process that ultimately will be done. I will probably not say it's now or tomorrow, but I know it's something that the government has said we definitely have got to support the Kenyans. And that is why the president is saying we do not want this violence anymore, because as a matter of fact, it would be easy if you can identify someone. When you are granted a permit to demonstrate, because it's a constitutional right, the reason as to why it must be someone applying or an organization applying for that permit is because of responsibility. In the course of your demonstration, if people are killed, property is destroyed, then the leader of such a demonstration team should take responsibility. The issue about SHIF and NHIF, remember the ministry has already given an extension, another 3 months extension, to make sure that the entire process is properly processed so that its implementation do not get as many bottlenecks as this. And there was a court case that was filed. So that is something that is happening. Those who were in police custody, by the way, as a third response to that condition, those who were charged of certain offenses are those who either they were found having destroyed people's property, having looted on some people's businesses, and it is now a criminal case going on before a court of law. And therefore, if there will be no evidence against them, they'll definitely be released. If there is, they'll face the full force of the law. And that is the reason why we are saying this Gen Z movement came in a lot of committed cause to ask that we need a change of leadership style and governance style in Kenya. But they were infiltrated by thieves and also violent engagement, and so leading to where we are. For the police officers who were involved in shooting and killing Kenyans, we have an organization called IPOA. The president told the nation that if there is any police officer who misused his or her firearm in the course of duty, there is a responsibility in them. They'll be subjected to the normal process. And the president committed, the cabinet secretary then, Professor Kindiki, when he appeared before the media, also said that we have those names, we have given out to the IPOA, and therefore they will be taken through that process. So as a matter of fact, this police officer who misused his firearm will definitely face the law. At the same time, they equally are supposed to be protected because they were on duty, and if their lives were at risk, fair enough, they will definitely be able to defend themselves. So even as we now talk about this convention, that is one of the conditions that is given. Who is going to lead this convention? I mean, NADCO report, for example, the engagement was structured. We had representations from across all the political formations. That is why we came up with a product. So it's not just about saying the most populous and sensational thing, a national convention, a national convention. We must have a structured way of dealing with it so that we come out of it and have a product that will support Kenya. For instance, and why I'm saying that is because NADCO had the structures. NADCO came out with 8 bills, 4 in the Senate, 4 in the National Assembly. It brought back Kenya to a table where people discussed issues. We have already passed the IEBC bill. And it's so unfair for my colleague here to say that it's not being implemented. Yet, as you were rightly asking him, you took him through the fact that they are currently on recess. IEBC bill has already been ascended to. There is already, from the LSK, they have already called for nominations to the people who will represent the organization. And Parliamentary Service Commission last week were conducting interviews for those who applied. And by the way, it is a competitive process. There are people who applied. They have been taken through an interview. I'm aware that I think on Friday they shortlisted some candidates. So this is a product of a structured negotiation between the opposition, the government, and issues were placed on the table. It was an 8-agenda bullet that discussed leading to the 8 bills.
Thank you.
4 of them, right now after this session, I'm having a public participation as the chairperson of JLAC in the Senate chamber with as many as organizations we've invited. I've just confirmed that we have around 8 or so organizations who are coming in to engage with us in the bills, that is the political parties amendment bill, election offenses amendment bill, and 2 other bills. We have got a political parties election offenses, which are the one. And this is going to be an engagement with the public and stakeholders, or now the product of NADCO. So all of us, when we speak and tell the Kenyans the right things, and not necessarily because we want to tell them what is going to excite them, we are on course in implementing the NADCO report. We are on course in making sure that the views of Kenyans are included in our engagement as the legislature in the laws that we are going to push for implementation, that we reform the sector on election and we reform the way we govern our elections and related aspects going forward.
I wanted just to ask, because I'm a bit astounded by the fact that also the government has not spoken to the fact that we are seeing people who are donning balaclavas.
Donning what?
Donning or wearing balaclavas, yeah? Abducting the Gen Zs, the youth. They have even the temerity to go to the police station and follow a journalist, abduct him and put him in a pro box. And the government has not been expressly talking about these dark forces that we can see. Who are they? Who are these people? Because now everyone is living under fear and trepidation that we'll have people who are looking like ninjas coming to abduct you. You know, we can't tell their faces. These are the faceless.
Are they men in black?
They're the faceless, they are the fearless,
leaderless,
and they're the leaderless. Because now we can't tell who they are. But it seems it's in support of government. If they can actually go to a police station and actually capture someone, then who are these people who don't even fear? You know, the security apparatus of the country, even within the precinct of a police station, you can capture someone.
Was there anyone captured from a police station?
Yeah, Bashar Agatha wasn't he captured there by the police station?
It wasn't a police station.
Yeah, wasn't that a police station?
Okay.
It wasn't a police station.
Yeah, I mean, don't you think we're living? We have people who in this country who are acting like terrorists. These are actually hallmarks of terrorists.
I think there is a procedure of arresting anybody. There is a laid-down procedure of arresting someone. We don't need any manner of abductions unless you are categorized probably as a terrorist or someone who is having a great danger to the statehood of the republic. So as far as a journalist or someone who has a different political view or inciting Kenyans, you don't need to be abducted.
We're not even talking about those journalists. I'm just talking about these characters. Who are they? Who are they? And no one has spoken about this. Who are these characters?
We don't know. From where I sit, I don't know.
Isn't that serious?
But
you as a legislator, if you do not know, will that be a conversation that we'll be having in Parliament tomorrow?
It's a good conversation, but at the same time, we have to be firm in terms of cracking down the criminality element which has infiltrated the Gen Z's demonstration. All the criminal elements must be taken out of the
But you see, we see where he's headed, actually. If you have these balaclavas who are abducting, it's the same reason now we have all these 6 points that are being raised by Right Honorable Raila Odinga, that the abductees, and you can see the abductees are people who are actually wearing these balaclavas, or maybe they're masked.
Those who are abducting people.
Who are they?
And the criminal element that is infiltrating the demonstration, all of them are in the same category. There is a procedure of arresting anybody. So if you have been identified by security agencies as someone who is committing crime, you should be arrested, taken to court, and let the legal process, judicial process, take its course. And I'll continue asking our judicial system, our court, to be firm, because any threat to the statehood is more serious, more grievous than many other crimes. So if you are abducting people, it is illegal to abduct. I don't know whether there is any law which stipulates how people should be abducted. So those who are abducting also are committing crime. There is a procedure of arresting people. And if we have a special unit for doing such kind of activities, let us be told, as Kenyans, that we have this team.
No one has spoken to it.
There's this team which is called, I don't know what, for the purposes of abducting people. But I don't think government can be in business of abducting innocent Kenyans. No. But also, I understand, for instance, Qatar, Alfred Qatar, was arrested. But the journalists were quick to say, Alfred Qatar have been abducted. So, a good term known as arresting is now being framed in a manner to look very bad, to be abducting.
How will you characterize an abduction?
If
you open my door...
At the moment, criminal element of coming to a house and burning your house, burning your property, is being sanitized to have come to greet the bar. So these are two things. We are sanitizing a criminal activity.
We need to wind up.
That I'm coming to the bar's house to say hi by burning your house, burning your vehicle, brutalizing your children.
No.
That is kusalimia the bar.
No.
So at the same time, we are seeing an element where arresting a criminal who has committed a crime, it is now getting a very bad term, abductions.
No. But how will you...
No. We have to be careful.
No.
We have to be careful with the bar. We are sanitizing a criminal activity,
Just
at the same time criminalizing a legal activity called as arresting Kenyans for crimes committed.
You on the road, you yank my door open.
Yes.
You bundle me out of my car against my will.
And then you say you're arresting me.
You take me to your car, and I'm yelling and screaming and kicking. My children also are yelling, screaming and kicking. My wife as well. Asking that, how will you characterize? Will you characterize it as arrest or abduction?
Police.
No. Just answer my question. No. It's a binary yes or no.
No. You don't put me.
No. Because now you're saying.
You don't put any word in my mouth.
No, I'm not putting any word in your mouth. I just want you to say yes or no. This is an abduction. This is an arrest.
Alfred Qatar was summoned to appear to a police station several times. Several times. He refused to go to any police station. He had questions to answer. He had a statement to record. He is called again and again. He has refused to appear to the nearest police station. He was arrested by police officers. That was not abduction. That was not abduction. And the media must desist from sanitizing criminal activities, giving it a very good term, kusalimia, and also criminalizing a process by police of arresting people who have committed a crime to call it abduction.
All right, we need to wind up. Honorable Mukali, let's just begin with getting your headline thoughts as well, briefly.
Maybe before I give my
because of interest of
closing
time.
remarks,
Yes.
just to say, I think Ruku should take this matter of abduction very seriously. I think he seems to be downplaying it, which is not good. The fact that we have seen people be dragged out of their cars, they are screaming, they are yelling, and nobody seems to care. That can't be no more arrest. The law is very clear when you want to arrest somebody, what you need to do. But I just want to say this as I conclude. Kenya is our country, it's our motherland, and we all love this country. And none of us would want to see the country go in the wrong direction. So even as we conduct our business in terms of also in the opposition, the Gen Zs, and the government, let's be reminded that there's a country to take care of. And any proposals which would make Kenya continue shining should be supported by all, irrespective of where our political affiliation, our age, our sex, and all that. The other matter which is critical is that now that we are going back to Parliament, I think the way we adjourned was very unprocedural, because it's like we just, because of the attack by Gen Zs, we decided to go home. We've been following what the Gen Zs are saying, and Gen Zs are saying, Parliament, you need to reclaim your power as it is in the Constitution, because we have our constitutional mandate. So I would want to urge my colleagues, even as we resume tomorrow, that we start showing Kenyans that now we work as per our Constitution. Because it's like we're getting to a level where people just vote on the basis of what the party leaders are saying and not what is good for the country. Time has come, we reclaim our honor as a house and start doing things procedure. I like what Honorable Ruku was saying, that if something is good for the country, we say yes. If it is not good for the country, we say no, irrespective of who originates it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Sige, your closing remarks?
Thank you, Dibal. Just to confirm that from the perspective of what the law provides, there hasn't been any abductions. It has been a manifestation of the media that a number of people have been arrested. We've got police officers in uniform and those not in uniform. The law, the Civil Procedure Code, rather the Criminal Procedure Code.
Balaclava is, the balaclava is part of
the Criminal Procedure Code, Section 31, I believe, provides on the procedure for arrest. The Police Service Act equally does provide under Section 58 on what are the procedures of arresting. You can arrest an individual with or without a warrant of arrest, especially when you suspect or there has been reason to believe that such a person has done something that warrants an arrest. And those who are not in uniform always are under the law required to identify themselves. So there hasn't been any such abductions as it's sensationally reported. Let us practice
so you've not witnessed anyone wearing a balaclava?
Sorry?
You've not witnessed anyone wearing a balaclava?
Not that has been conducting people. I've witnessed whether officers or non-officers wearing such kind of
because we want to know if it's that part of
but I haven't witnessed any such officer abducting Kenyans.
Thank you.
As I close,
thank you.
I'm looking forward to us being as objective as we should be in our conversations, and for what we're getting about tomorrow, we want to dialogue as Kenyans. We want to build Kenya, and I want to encourage the Gen Zs to come forward and lead in this conversation.
Honorable Ruku, 30 seconds.
President William Ruto is very as well intentions when he's calling for dialogue, when he's calling for leaders to come together and think about the future of this country. Kalonzo Musyoka should hear the call for the president and let him be there when this is happening.
Thank you.
He has been around Raila Odinga for many years. Let them be a team, let him not appear as opportunistic leader. Let him be there and stand for this nation.
Thank you. Honorable Ruku, thank you. Member of Parliament Barano, thank you for coming through. Honorable Sigi as well. Senator for Bomet, we thank you. And also Member of Parliament